Welcome to the Health Talks podcast. Today, we're joined by our co-hosts, Mr. David Jones and Ms. Jessica Brown. Our today's podcast topic is the human lung, structure, function, and health.
Hey there, fellow breathers. Ever stop to think about those two tireless workers in your chest, constantly pulling in air and keeping you going? Today, we're taking a deep dive into your lungs, those unsung heroes of the human body.
It's fascinating how often we take them for granted, right?
Yeah.
Until we get a cough or feel that shortness of breath, most of us don't give our lungs a second thought.
Right.
But they're incredibly complex and vital for our survival.
Exactly. We're diving into excerpts from an article titled The Human Lung, Structure, Function, and Health to uncover all their secrets.
Sounds good.
Get ready for some serious aha moments because we're about to become lung experts together.
I love it. You know, a lot of people might picture a simple balloon-like structure when they think of lungs.
Right.
But trust me, it's far more intricate than that.
Okay, let's unpack this, starting with a fun fact.
Okay.
Did you know your right lung is bigger than your left? I mean, it seems like they should be symmetrical, right?
Right. But it's all about making space for your heart, which sits slightly to the left in your chest. To accommodate it, the right lung has 3 lobes, upper, middle, and lower, while the left only has 2. It's like nature's way of playing Tetris in your chest cavity.
That's a great analogy.
Yeah.
So it's not just about fitting everything in.
Right.
There's a clever design behind it.
Yeah.
And each of those lobes is separated by fissures. Think of them as grooves that allow the lungs to expand and contract smoothly as you breathe.
Exactly. It's like having carefully placed folds in a piece of fabric so that it can stretch and move without bunching up.
Yeah.
But here's where it gets even more interesting.
Okay.
Each lung is enveloped by this incredibly smooth, slippery membrane called the pleura.
Wait, the pleura. Tell me more about that.
Yeah.
It sounds kind of mysterious. What's its purpose?
Well, think of it like this.
Okay.
If your lungs were constantly rubbing against your rib cage with every breath, it would cause friction and inflammation. Makes sense. The pleura acts as a protective barrier.
Okay.
It actually has 2 layers. One attached to the lung itself and another lining the chest wall.
So it's a double layer of protection.
Yes.
That's amazing.
And between those layers, there's a tiny bit of fluid that acts as a lubricant. This allows your lungs to glide effortlessly as you breathe, almost like they're on a tiny slip and slide.
I love that visual. It makes it so much easier to understand.
Right.
But we can't talk about lungs without mentioning those mind-boggling alveoli.
Right,
I mean, 300 million tiny air sacs in ECH lung.
It's a lot.
That's just wow.
The sheer number is mind-blowing, but it's absolutely essential.
Right.
Imagine trying to trade goods with a country that only had a single tiny port. Things would move very slowly.
Yeah.
The alveoli creates an enormous surface area for gas exchange. It's like having millions of tiny trading posts where oxygen can efficiently enter your bloodstream and carbon dioxide can exit.
So every breath we take is like a bustling marketplace of gas exchange happening deep within our lungs.
Exactly.
It's making me appreciate breathing on a whole new level.
It really is. And it all boils down to those alveoli and their incredible design.
Okay, now I'm curious about the actual mechanics of breathing.
Right.
We all know it involves inhaling and exhaling.
Yeah.
But what's the driving force behind that? Is it like a pump?
Well, there is a pump involved.
Okay.
But it's not what you might think.
Okay.
It's a muscle most of us don't consciously control. The diaphragm.
The diaphragm.
This dome-shaped muscle sits right beneath your lungs.
Oh, okay. So how does it work?
When you inhale, the diaphragm contracts and flattens, pulling your lungs downward and creating more space in your chest cavity.
Okay.
At the same time, muscles between your ribs, called intercostal muscles, contract to expand your chest outward.
So it's teamwork. It's like a choreographed expansion of your chest cavity to create space for the incoming air.
Absolutely. As the chest cavity expands, it creates a vacuum-like effect that sucks air into the lungs. Then when you exhale, the diaphragm and intercostal muscles relax. The chest cavity shrinks and air is gently pushed out. It's truly a remarkable rhythmic dance.
That's incredible. But, you know, most people probably think that's all the lungs do, just breathing in and out.
Right.
But I have a feeling there's more to the story, right?
Oh, you have no idea.
Okay.
Your lungs are multi-talented.
Okay.
They're not just about breathing.
Okay.
They play a critical role in regulating your blood's pH level.
Hold on.
Yeah.
Breathing affects pH. Tell me more about that.
Think about it this way.
Okay.
Carbon dioxide, or CO2,
Right.
is a waste product of our cells.
Mm-hmm.
When it builds up in your blood,
Yeah.
it makes your blood more acidic.
Mm.
But your lungs can adjust the CO2 levels by exhaling more of it,
Okay.
bringing the pH back into that healthy balance.
So the lungs are like a filtering system.
And constant balancing act.
Wow. I had no idea. So it's not just about oxygen and CO2.
Right.
It's about maintaining this delicate chemical balance within our bodies.
Precisely.
Wow.
And this is just one of the many amazing things your lungs do behind the scenes.
Okay. My mind is officially blown.
Yeah.
Lungs are way more complex and fascinating than I ever imagined.
They really are.
And speaking of amazing feats, I know they have some pretty impressive defense mechanisms, right?
They do.
It's like they're constantly fighting off invaders.
Yeah.
Like a microscopic battlefield.
You got it.
Yeah.
And their defenses are surprisingly intricate.
Really?
For example, tiny hair-like structures called cilia line your airways,
Cilia.
constantly sweeping away foreign particles like dust, pollen, and even bacteria.
It's like a miniature cleaning crew working 24/7.
Exactly.
Wow.
And then there's mucus, which
Yeah.
might not sound glamorous, but plays a crucial role.
Okay.
It's like fly paper for those invaders, trapping them so the cilia can sweep them away.
So it's a sticky trap for all the nasty stuff.
Pretty much.
Pretty clever.
Very. And let's not forget the immune cells stationed within your lungs.
Right.
They're like the security guards,
Yeah.
ready to fight off any pathogens that manage to sneak past the first line of defense.
It's like a fortress in there.
Yeah.
But here's another thing I find fascinating.
Huh?
Our lungs are actually involved in talking. How does that even work?
It's all about the force of air.
Okay.
As we exhale, air from our lungs passes over our vocal cords,
Right.
making them vibrate.
Okay.
These vibrations create sound waves,
Yeah.
which we perceive as speech.
Wow.
Amazing.
It's incredible how much our lungs do for us.
I know.
They're involved in breathing,
Right.
pH balance, defense, A&D communication.
It's a lot.
Truly, they're like the ultimate multitaskers.
I couldn't agree more.
Yeah.
But we also have to acknowledge that despite their strength, our lungs can be vulnerable to disease. It's like a reminder that even superheroes need a bit of care and attention.
You're right. It's time to address the elephant in the room.
Okay.
Let's shift gears a bit and talk about some of the common lung conditions people face.
Okay.
All right.
One of the most frequent categories is respiratory infections.
Respiratory infections.
These are the coughs, colds, and sniffles that we often pick up from others.
Right, like pneumonia and bronchitis.
Exactly.
Those can really knock you down. I remember having bronchitis once and feeling completely wiped out.
They can be quite debilitating.
Oh, yeah.
Pneumonia is an infection that inflames the air sacs in your lungs,
Right.
sometimes causing them to fill with fluid or pus.
Oh, wow.
It can be very serious,
Yeah.
especially in young children and older adults.
Right.
Bronchitis, on the other hand, is an inflammation of the bronchial tubes, those airways that branch out from your trachea.
Right.
It often causes that persistent hacking cough that just won't quit. Oh, yeah, I know that cough.
You know it.
And then there's tuberculosis, or TB.
Right.
It's a bacterial infection that primarily affects the lungs. And I know it can be really serious if it's not treated properly.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Fortunately, we have effective treatments for TB nowadays,
Right.
but it's a reminder that infections can pose a real threat to our lungs.
So infections are a big concern.
Definitely.
But what about long-term issues?
Okay.
What about chronic lung diseases like COPD and asthma?
Yeah.
Those seem to be affecting more and more people these days.
You're right. They're becoming increasingly common.
Yeah.
COPD, or chronic obstructive pulmonary disease,
COPD?
is a group of diseases,
Okay.
including chronic bronchitis and emphysema.
Wow.
They cause airflow obstruction,
Oh.
making it incredibly difficult to breathe.
Wow.
And sadly, smoking is the biggest risk factor for developing COPD.
It's a sobering reminder of how damaging smoking can be to those precious lungs.
It is.
And speaking of serious conditions...
We can't forget about lung cancer.
Right.
It's one of the leading causes of cancer-related deaths worldwide.
It is, and smoking is a major culprit there as well.
Right.
But other factors can increase the risk, like exposure to certain pollutants, radon gas, and even genetics.
It's a reminder that there are things we can control
Right.
and things we can't.
Exactly.
But knowledge is power, right?
Absolutely.
Knowing the risks is the first step toward taking preventive measures.
I agree.
Okay, we've covered a lot of ground here. From the fascinating anatomy of our lungs to the sobering reality of lung diseases.
It's a lot to take in.
It's a lot to absorb. But knowledge is the first step towards taking control of our lung health.
Right.
Let's take a deep breath and come back to discuss some simple yet powerful things we can do to keep those lungs happy and healthy.
Sounds good.
All right, so we've explored the amazing world inside our lungs and faced the reality that they're not invincible.
Yeah.
But now, let's shift gears and talk about empowerment.
Yeah.
What can we do to keep those incredible organs happy and healthy?
That's the spirit. The good news is we have a lot more control over our lung health than we might realize.
Right.
And it starts with the most impactful choice, not smoking.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Kicking that habit, or better yet, never starting, is hands down the best thing you can do for your lungs.
Right.
It's like giving them a lifetime of fresh air and appreciation.
Couldn't agree more.
Yeah.
But even if you've never touched a cigarette,
Right.
there's secondhand smoke to consider.
Oh, yeah.
Being around smokers puts your lungs at risk, too.
Right.
So creating smoke-free environments is crucial for everyone.
That's a great point. It's about protecting ourselves and those around us.
Exactly.
Now, what about other preventative measures? Are there simple things we can do in our daily lives to make a difference?
You bet. Remember those pesky respiratory infections we talked about?
Yeah.
Well, something as simple as washing your hands thoroughly and frequently can significantly reduce your risk of catching them. It might seem basic, but it's incredibly effective.
Right. Good old-fashioned hygiene. Sometimes the simplest solutions are the most powerful. What about vaccinations?
Yeah.
I know those are important for preventing certain diseases, but do they really help protect our lungs?
They absolutely do. Vaccines like the flu shot and the pneumococcal vaccine can help prevent serious respiratory infections that can severely impact your lungs.
So talk to your doctor about getting those vaccines.
Right.
It's like giving your lungs an extra layer of armor.
Exactly.
What about lifestyle choices?
Okay.
Do things like diet and exercise actually affect our lung health?
They absolutely do.
They do.
A balanced diet packed with fruits, vegetables, and antioxidants can help strengthen your immune system, making you less susceptible to infections in the first place.
So eat the rainbow, folks.
Right.
It's not just good for your taste buds.
Yeah.
It's good for those hardworking lungs.
Exactly.
And what about exercise?
Regular physical activity strengthens your respiratory muscles and improves lung function. It's like giving your lungs a workout, helping them become more efficient at taking in oxygen and releasing carbon dioxide.
So get moving. Whether it's a brisk walk, a dance class, or a swim,
Right.
find an activity you enjoy and get those lungs pumping.
I love it.
But let's talk about the air we breathe.
Oh, okay.
We're constantly exposed to pollutants,
Right.
both indoors and outdoors.
Yeah.
How can we minimize the impact of those on our lung health?
You're right. Air pollution is a growing concern.
Yeah.
Indoors, think about things like dust mold, pet dander, and even chemicals from cleaning products. Ensuring good ventilation by opening windows when possible can help.
Okay.
And consider using air purifiers, especially if you live in an area with high pollution levels.
Those are great tips. It's a reminder that even seemingly small things like switching to natural cleaning products can make a difference.
Absolutely.
What about when we're outdoors? Are there ways to protect our lungs from pollution when we're out and about?
Absolutely. If you're in an area with heavy traffic or industrial activity, wearing a mask can help filter out some of those harmful particles.
Okay.
And for people who work in environments with high levels of dust fumes or chemicals, wearing appropriate protective gear is non-negotiable.
It's a reminder that we have options and can take control of our exposure.
Exactly.
But even with the best preventative measures, sometimes things go wrong.
Yeah.
So how can we know if our lungs are in trouble before it becomes a serious issue? Early detection seems crucial.
You're spot on. Regular checkups with your doctor are essential.
Okay.
Especially if you have any risk factors like a family history of lung disease or a history of smoking.
Right.
Don't wait until you have symptoms to get checked out.
Right.
Early detection is key for successful treatment of many lung conditions.
So be proactive about your lung health.
Yes.
Don't hesitate to talk to your doctor.
Right.
Even if you think it's nothing.
Exactly.
Now, our source material mentions some specific tests that can track lung health. It's like spirometry.
Okay.
What exactly is that?
Spirometry is a simple, non-invasive test that measures how much air you can inhale and exhale and how quickly you can do it.
Okay.
It's a valuable tool for diagnosing conditions like asthma and COPD, helping doctors assess lung function and track changes over time.
sounds like a good way to get a baseline understanding of your lung capacity.
Yeah.
But then there's bronchoscopy.
Right.
Now that sounds a bit more intense.
It is a bit more involved.
Yeah.
But it can be incredibly helpful for diagnosing certain conditions.
Okay.
Imagine a tiny flexible tube with a camera attached to it being gently inserted down your throat and into your lungs.
Whoa, a tiny camera exploring my lungs.
Yeah.
That's incredible. What can doctors see with this bronchoscope?
It allows them to visually examine your airways for any abnormalities like inflammation blockages or even tumors. It can also be used to collect samples of tissue or fluid for further testing.
So it's a powerful tool for both diagnosis and treatment. It's amazing what technology can do these days.
It really is. But remember, prevention is always the best medicine.
Right.
Taking those preventative steps we discussed and having regular checkups are the most effective ways to ensure long-term lung health.
Well said. And beyond those essential measures, are there any other lifestyle choices that can benefit our lungs?
Okay,
I read somewhere that staying hydrated is important.
that's a great point. Drinking plenty of water helps thin the mucus in your airways, making it easier for your body to clear out irritants.
So it's like keeping those tiny cilia and mucus flowing smoothly?
It's exact.
I always knew water was good for us,
Yeah,
but I never thought about its impact on lung health specifically.
it's important.
What about breathing exercises? Are those beneficial?
Absolutely. There are specific breathing exercises that can strengthen your respiratory muscles and improve lung function.
Oh.
For example, diaphragmatic breathing focuses on using your diaphragm more effectively,
Okay.
while pursed lip breathing can help control shortness of breath.
It's like a workout for your lungs.
It is
I'm definitely going to look into those exercises.
good.
So we've covered a lot of ground today, from anatomy to function,
Yeah,
from potential threats to preventative measures,
Right.
and even diagnostic tools.
it's been quite a deep dive.
Yeah.
And I hope our listener is feeling empowered with knowledge and ready to take action.
Me too.
Yeah.
But before we wrap up this deep dive, we have one final thought-provoking question for you to consider. Now that you've journeyed deep within the intricate world of your lungs, we want to leave you with a challenge.
Okay.
Think about this.
Yeah.
What's one small change you can make starting today to show your lungs a little extra love?
It could be something as simple as choosing to walk or bike instead of driving for a short trip. Maybe it's swapping out harsh chemical cleaners for more natural alternatives.
Right.
Or perhaps it's just taking a few moments each day to practice those deep, mindful breaths we talked about.
Yeah.
Really connecting with the amazing process happening inside you.
I love that. Sometimes the smallest shifts in our routine can have the biggest impact on our health.
Right.
And it's not just about adding years to your life.
Yeah,
It's about adding life to your years.
exactly. It's about feeling vibrant, energized, and able to fully experience all the wonders life has to offer.
Right.
And healthy lungs play a huge role in that.
Well said. Now, before we wrap up this deep dive,
Okay.
let's do a quick recap of those key takeaways.
All right.
We started by exploring the anatomy of the lungs,
Right.
those lobes, fissures, and that incredible pleura, which acts like a built-in slip and slide.
And let's not forget those 300 million alveoli in each lung.
Right.
They're like tiny marketplaces where oxygen and carbon dioxide are constantly being exchanged.
It really is.
It's a microscopic marvel happening with every breath we take.
It's mind-blowing when you really think about it. We also talked about how the lungs are involved in so much more than just breathing.
Yeah.
They help regulate our blood pH,
Right.
act as a first line of defense against invaders,
Uh-huh.
and even contribute to our ability to speak.
It's amazing.
But we also faced the reality that lungs are vulnerable to various diseases,
Yeah.
from infections like pneumonia and bronchitis to chronic conditions like COPD and asthma.
Right.
And of course, there's lung cancer, a serious threat that we need to be aware of.
Very true.
It's a reminder that we need to be proactive about our lung health.
Yeah.
And the good news is there's so much we can do.
Yeah.
Avoiding smoking, staying up to date on vaccinations, practicing good hygiene, and minimizing exposure to pollutants are all crucial steps we can take.
And those regular checkups with your doctor,
Right.
they're worth their weight in gold,
I agree.
especially if you have any risk factors.
Right.
Early detection is key for successful treatment of many lung conditions.
We also learned about some amazing diagnostic tools doctors use,
Yeah.
like spirometry, which
Yeah.
measures lung function, a bronchoscopy.
Right.
It's like sending a tiny explorer into your lungs.
And let's not forget those simple yet powerful lifestyle choices that can make a big difference.
Right.
Like staying hydrated and incorporating breathing exercises into our daily routines.
Yeah.
It's like giving your lungs a mini spa treatment every day.
So there you have it.
Good.
We've explored the amazing world of the human lung.
We did.
Its complexities, its vulnerabilities, and most importantly, its resilience.
We hope you've walked away with a newfound appreciation for these incredible organs and feel empowered to take charge of your lung health.
And if you're eager to learn even more, be sure to check out the show notes for links to some fantastic resources where you can continue your exploration.
Great idea.
Keep those lungs happy, keep breathing deeply, and until next time, stay curious.